Question number 61. What is weighted average rate of return on assets? So, as we will calculate weighted average cost of capital, same way we will calculate weighted average rate of return. Meaning what? Meaning, how do we calculate the weighted average cost of capital? We take the sources of capital and then write the amount of each of those sources that we are using, and then we find out as to what is the cost of capital for each of those sources. Then we find out the amount of the cost, and by taking the total of all the costs that you are incurring, dividing by that amount, by the total amount of capital, we get the weighted average cost of capital, जो कि हमने कई बार कैलकुलेट किया है. उसी तरह से हम वेटेड एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न भी कैलकुलेट करते हैं. एंड वो कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं कि समझिए आपके पास में 3 प्रोजेक्ट हैं. सो हाउ डू वी कैलकुलेट दी वेटेड एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न? सो वेटेड एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? समझिए आपके पास में 3 प्रोजेक्ट हैं. एक प्रोजेक्ट का इन्वेस्टमेंट है 1000, दूसरे प्रोजेक्ट का इन्वेस्टमेंट है 2000 और तीसरे प्रोजेक्ट का इन्वेस्टमेंट है 3000. और तो टोटल आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना हो गया? टोटल आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट हो गया 6000. पहले वाला जो प्रोजेक्ट है उस पर आपने रिटर्न कमाया 300 का, और दूसरे वाले पे कमाया 200 का, और तीसरे वाले पर आपने रिटर्न कमाया 400 का. सो टोटल रिटर्न कितना कमाया आपने? 900. So your total return is 900. Total investment is 6000. So 900 divided by 900 divided by 6000 into 100, and that is your weighted average rate of return. So this is how you will calculate. So your weighted average rate of return in this case becomes 15%. And that's your weighted average rate of return. So weighted average rate of return is the combined return of all the investments that you have made as a company in different projects. That's your weighted average rate of return. Question number 62. Which are the approaches for the purpose of business valuation? So there are only 3 approaches for the purpose of business valuation. Number 1 is the income approach, number 2 is the market approach, and number 3 is your cost or asset approach. And that's your question number 62. Question number 63. Is the cost approach and asset approach of valuation same or different? And answer of course is yes. So आप उसको cost approach कहिए या आप उसको asset approach कहिए, दोनों का मतलब एक ही है. वो अलग अलग अप्रोचेज नहीं हैं, वो सेम अप्रोच हैं, और उसका हम कई बार उसको कॉस्ट अप्रोच कह के बुलाते हैं, कई बार हम उसको एसेट अप्रोच कह के बुलाते हैं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 64. विल द रेट यूज्ड फॉर इनकम कैपिटलाइजेशन मेथड एंड फॉर डिस्काउंटिंग द फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज अंडर द डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड बी सेम और डिफरेंट फॉर ए कंपनी? क्या मतलब है कहने का मतलब ये है कि एक कंपनी है, आप उस कंपनी की वैल्यू मालूम करना चाहते हैं यूजिंग द इनकम कैपिटलाइजेशन मेथड एंड यूजिंग द डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड. तो सवाल ये है कि इनकम को कैपिटलाइज करने के लिए जो आप रेट यूज़ करेंगे और फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज को डिस्काउंट करने के लिए जो आप रेट यूज़ करेंगे एक कंपनी के लिए, तो क्या ये रेट उस कंपनी के लिए दोनों रेट्स सेम होंगे कि डिफरेंट होंगे? And the answer of course is it will be the same. And why it will be the same? Because for one company the required rate of return has to be 1 only. So that is how you will that is the answer to question number 64. Question number 65. Is cost of capital any business? Is the minimum rate of return expected by the owner or investor? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Please remember, cost of capital is used by about 17 different names. So it is also referred sometimes as minimum rate of return, required rate of return, target rate of return, expected rate of return, hurdle rate, reference rate, benchmark rate, opportunity cost, and by so many names. So this is what you must remember, that these terms are used interchangeably and quite frequently in the domain of finance, and you must be aware and not ever get confused about them. Question number 66. Can the return expectation of business owner be taken as the cost of capital of that business? And answer of course is yes, because the cost of equity for any business is the return expected by the owner of the business. So जो owner है business का, उसकी जो return expectation है, that is to be taken as cost of equity or cost of capital of that business, and that rate has to be used for the purpose of all decision making in the domain of finance for that company. Question number 67. Can business valuation be done without understanding the cost of capital? And answer is forget about valuation alone. Nothing in the domain of business can be done without good understanding of cost of capital. And that is the significance of cost of capital. And I hope this discussion that we have had through these 67 questions has helped you to sharpen your understanding about the concept of cost of capital.